Greetings, this is Amy Wentley with Chai Knuckles Knitting, and this is episode 2021-34, the quick stocking hat, casting on, joining in the round, and 2x2 rib. I'm teaching a beginner class on the quick stocking hat. This is a pattern, it's on Ravelry. Originally, seems a long time ago, it was published by Hill Vintage and Knits. It's available now for free on Ravelry. I'm not sure who the designer of the pattern was, but thank you to them. I'm using this for a beginning knitting class. It's a kind of a first project after learning to knit, so it's very good for beginners. I'm starting off and I've got stitches cast onto my needles here, and it's a circular needle. It's a 16-inch circular needle. I decided that I will knit the medium size, which has a 17-inch circumference, and I think that will fit most adults. So I'm going to go for that. And the instructions in the pattern tell me to use a size 10 16-inch circular needle, and it has me start with 64 stitches on the needle. Now I cast these on, and I cast them on using the long tail cast on. Another good cast on that you can use for this is the knitted cast on. Now at the bottom of the screen here you'll see links to videos I have of doing both of those cast ons. They're both great cast ons for this hat. They're both very flexible, so the hat will very easily pull over your head. So I recommend using either of those. If you don't know how to do those cast-ons or you'd like to try a new one, please go to the website. And I will also have the links in the description on the YouTube video if you would like to go there. So I've started here with 64 stitches cast on. And the first thing the pattern says is, of course, with circular needles, cast on 64 stitches. And then it says, place a marker indicating the beginning of the round, and then join, being careful not to twist the stitches. Now, for beginners, what I like to do is I like you to work 2 rows of the ribbing first before we join, because it's going to make it easier for you not to twist the stitches. So let me show you how to do a 2x2 rib. And what that means is knit 2, purl 2, knit 2, purl 2. So I'm just going to go ahead and work 2 rows flat. That means not in the round, not with joining, just like you would normally knit. And I will do this in knit 2, purl 2 ribbing. I'll show you how to do that. You start out with knit 2, and then you're going to go to purl 2. So you bring your yarn in front and purl 2. And then you're going to take your yarn to the back, and you are going to knit 2. And then you bring the yarn to the front and you purl 2. Now you will continue doing this all the way across all your stitches. Knit 2, purl 2 ribbing in the round is usually done as a multiple of 4. So we have 64 stitches. That's divided by 4. And that's because each pattern repeat is 4 stitches. So I want to show you this too, and we'll get a little bit closer. You'll notice when you're doing this that you can see a difference in the stitches. This is 2 knit stitches, 2 purl stitches, 2 knit stitches, 2 purl stitches. That pattern is going to continue all the way across. So I'm going to pause the video for a minute, and I'm going to get to the end of this row, having done 64 stitches in knit 2, purl 2 ribbing. And I will be right back. Hi, I'm back. So I finished knitting this row. This is the first row, and it's in knit 2, purl 2 rib, And you can see there's knit 2, purl 2, knit 2, purl 2. And I did this all along the way of the 64 stitches on my needle. So I'm still not going to join the hat at this point. I want to make this easier for you to do. So what I'm going to do is just turn my whole needle again, and I'm going to knit one more row flat before I join in the round. So as you're going to see the next row, as you're going to start the next row, you're going to see that you have 2 knit stitches, 2 purl stitches. Let me get it a little closer for you. There you go, 2 knit stitches, 2 purl stitches, 2 knit stitches, 2 purl stitches, 2 knit stitches, and so on. And you are just going to do exactly that. You're going to knit 2, purl 2, knit 2, purl 2, all the way across the needle. So I will just start here, and I'm going to knit 2, and then bring my yarn to the front and purl 2, and take my yarn to the back and knit 2, and then I am just going to continue all the way until I have all 64 stitches done again. So I'm going to pause now, and I'm going to get this row done, then I'm going to show you how to join in the round. I'll be right back. Hi, I'm back. And so I just finished the second row of knit 2, purl 2 ribbing across my 64 stitches. So you can see how the ribbing is starting to set up. You've got kind of 2 straight lines here, 2 bumpies, 2 straight, 2 bumpies. So I'm going to back out again so you can kind of see more of what's going on, and we're going to join this now to knit in the round. And so this is where your working yarn is, and this is also my tail because I did a long tail cast on, but you ignore that. This is my working yarn. So pick up the needle without the working yarn in your left hand and push all the stitches, or push some stitches anyway, not all of them, onto the left hand needle so that you have this first stitch ready to be worked. And then I want you to reach around and get the other needle with your working yarn on it here and get it ready to knit. But what you need to do is you need to make sure that all the stitches hanging down here are all hanging down from the cord in the same way. Okay, so if I lay my whole needle out like this is a good way to do this. You want to make sure that all the stitches along here are flat. Okay, you don't want anything that looks like this. These are twisted. Okay, so untwist and uncurl your needle until you can lay all your stitches down here like this, flat. Then very carefully pick up your left needle and get that first stitch ready. Pick up your right needle and get that needle ready. And you want to have your working yarn now to go over to the back of the needle. Back here. So if it was hanging in front here, because the last thing you did was a purl stitch, you want to move it to the back of the needle and get ready to start knitting. So I want to show you this again, just one more time. You want to lay your needle out on the table, and you want to make sure that the stitches aren't twisted. So you'll see here right now, my stitches are twisted. I want to untwist this piece here and lay it flat and have everything be flat here without any twists in it. Pick up my left needle and have that first stitch ready to work. Pick up my right needle, and I want to make sure the working yarn is not hanging from the front like this. I want to take it around, not over the top. I want to take it around the right needle to the back and have it hang there. Now I'm going to get a little closer for you. Okay, so this is where the 2 needles are meeting right now. All I need to do to join, to work in the round, is to take my right needle and put it in that first stitch to knit. And then I'm going to take my yarn, my working yarn that's hanging in the back now, wrap like I'm knitting, pull it through, and drop the stitch off the needle. Now that is joined now. It's joined back here. If you want to, you can pull this yarn a little tighter. You're going to have a gap here now. Just accept that. And it's going to get tighter as you knit more. We're going to be knitting rounds now. We're going to be knitting in a circle now. So as you knit more rounds, it's going to get neater, that little gap there. And as I mentioned before, you're actually going to need to put a marker in this spot. So it was actually before you worked that stitch. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how to do that join again. I'm taking the stitch out. And so let's place a marker, any kind that you'd like. You've got your left needle here and your right needle here with your working yarn in the back, and you've got a marker on there. So let's work that first stitch. All we do is knit it and we pull it tight. And then we go ahead and knit the next stitch, and we are going to continue doing knit 2, purl 2. So bring the yarn to the front, take the yarn to the back, or no, two purls, right? So we keep the yarn in the front. Then you take the yarn to the back and do 2 knits. And bring the yarn to the front and do 2 purls. Now as you go along, you're going to want to scooch your stitches a little bit. They're going to start building up on the right needle over here and stretching out on the left needle. So you just want to pull them around and see how there's a little gap there where you started. That's okay. You're going to pull them around so that you can bring them here. And I'm going to back up a little bit so you can see a little more. And you're going to continue to do knit 2, purl 2, ribbing until you get to that marker that you placed. So I'm going to go ahead and pause for a minute, and then I will be right back when I finish the first round, talk to you a little bit more about what you're going to be doing from now on. I'll be right back. I'm back. So I reached the end of the first round. I'm back where I put my marker at the beginning. Here's my marker. And this is just a little gourd pin with another marker hanging off it. So I've reached here, and you can see that the hat is joined after that first row. You are going to continue now doing knit 2, purl 2, ribbing, round after round after round until this piece measures 2.5 inches from the cast on edge. So this is the cast on edge. You'll knit it for 2.5 inches. And that's going to be the brim of your hat. Now, a thing about working with circular needles, if you're knitting along, I'm going to start the next round now. If you're knitting around and you decide to put your work down in the middle of a row, just put it down like that, and you go to pick up your needles. If your working yarn is coming off of the left-hand needle, your hat is inside out. What you'll need to do is just turn the whole thing around and get that yarn, your yarn here, your working yarn should be coming out of the right-hand needle. So just be aware of that. If you ever pick it up and the yarn's coming out of the left-hand needle, you've got things inside out. You just need to turn them around and make sure that the working yarn is coming out of your right-hand needle. The other thing too is occasionally your yarn could be, while you're working, your yarn's coming from sort of the wrong side and it's annoying you because it's getting wrapped around. You'll be knitting like this and the yarn's coming out from underneath and through the middle here, and it's sort of annoying. All you need to do is reach through your hat, pull the yarn through to get it to the back where you're comfortable. Another thing too is you are going to keep doing the knit 2, purl 2 ribbing until you get to 2.5 inches. You'll see you have a little gap down here where we did the first 2 rows and they weren't in the round. When you finish the hat, all you're going to need to do is take this end, thread it through a darning needle, and you can sew that part closed so you won't even know about it. So you'll go ahead now in the pattern and you'll work the knit 2, purl 2 ribbing for 2.5 inches, and then you're just going to start to knit. You will knit, 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 knit in the round, knit, 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 until the knitting part is about 5.5 or 6 inches, depending on the size of your hat. So you'll continue with just plain knitting, and that's going to be the body of the hat. So the next thing you do is you're going to move to double pointed needles, because you're going to start doing decreases and the circumference of the hat is going to get smaller and smaller and smaller. So I'm going to do a follow-on video to this one and I will show you how to do that. So no worries. So that is it for this video. Look for the next one coming soon and enjoy making your quick stocking hat. Thank you. Bye-bye.